Hey, everybody, welcome to episode 7 of the Meta Marine. I'm your host, Max Style, along with Nick Fuller and Thomas Bird. How are you guys doing tonight?
We're here. It's another one. I can't wait. Exciting stuff to talk about tonight.
Nick, you've been playing some games here recently?
Nick's been playing Marines. He's joined the good side, the good guys. What do you think about playing Marines recently?
I've been struggling with it a little bit. It's not what I'm used to, but there's definitely like an answer for everything in all of the detachments, pretty much.
All right. So let's get started with what did we learn? I learned in a game with Nick, actually, how fantastic the ignores modifier ruling is. They changed that in the last data slate to say that if you have an effect that says that you ignore modifiers or rolls for your unit, that affects your weapon attacks as well. The reason it was effective, I had some Vanguard vets that came in with AP -1 weapons, heat armor contempted, and it was, hey, wait, that doesn't matter. Don't do that.
Yeah.
And they ended up wiping the whole unit then, instead of just not, for lack of a better term.
That's a huge one. I saw that happened to me. I had that same realization when I'm like, Calgar was getting shot from a unit of Grav Devastator guys, the Thunderkin from Votan, and then they had the character in there that ignored modifiers, and I'm all like, -1 to wound, I'm a content, I don't care about you. Oh, none of that works.
Yeah, I do care.
Oh, no. And I like, they don't ignore cover, so luckily my Vitreous Guard was able to tank like 1,000,003 pluses, and it didn't matter, but I was like, oh, no, that could have been real bad.
Yeah, because cover adds to your save instead of subtracting from their attack.
Yeah, but that was a pretty big gotcha that I almost got on. So,
but it's interesting because it also means your OC can't go down because you're battle shocked. It's an interesting little nuance that you may not think of.
That's true. I know the banner kind of combats that, but I didn't think about it from the -1 damage or ignore modifiers. Like, ooh, nice.
So I did run into something kind of interesting. So I was playing against a AdMech player, and they have these little units of dudes carrying their toasters around that reduce your OC by 1. And I couldn't remember, is there something in one of the erratas or one of the facts that says that you cannot be reduced to below 1 on your OC?
No, I don't believe so. You can reduce OC to 0.
Yeah, you can go to 0 for sure.
That is really annoying, and maybe we can get into that in another episode, but like that's something that came up recently that was like, oh, all my OC1 guys, I just don't score points. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, it's you absolutely can be made OC 0. There's a salamander character that reduces your OC by half, rounding up. So he can never reduce you to 0, but it can be done.
Yeah, don't the Scarabs and Necrons, can't they reduce your OC?
They absolutely do. They can run up and touch you, and you go, "Oh man, they're touching me."
I thought they had something that now you make me have to go look because I thought there was something about not less than 1. But
well, we're going to do that in real time. So, Nick, what did you learn this week while he scrambles to get his rules together?
So I found out that the Slam Captain is still technically a thing.
Oh yeah,
he's much harder to get, and you can't do 3 of them. But in the Gladius detachment, with the Jump Pack Captain, with the Honor Vehement Relic, which gives him +1 attack and +1 strength, and if you're in the Assault Doctrine, I think I said that right. Assault Doctrine, you get an additional AP. I'm sorry, no, you get +1 additional attack and additional strength. So you're +2 strength, +2 attack. When he charges, when he's in a unit, he gets an additional +1 strength.
Ooh.
Now, he's a captain, so you can do a free strat, and you happen to have a strat called Honor the Chapter that says you get Lance with that unit, and if you're in the Assault Doctrine, you get an additional AP.
Oh, so, wow.
All of a sudden, that one captain with a Power Fist goes, I'm Strength 11, I'm -3 AP, and 2 damage with 7 attacks. They hit on 2s and pretty much wound everything in the game on 2s.
That's no joke.
I kind of like put him in the unit, and I put him in the list. And I was kind of like, oh, we'll see what happens. And then he just like walks around and just like whack-a-moles against like light vehicles, and I was like, okay, that was better than I expected it to be.
What did you put him with? Assault Intercessors or Vanguard vets?
Yeah, Assault Intercessors, because just get a couple extra ablative wounds for him, and then when you charge in, you just do some mortals. So it's just like, hey, if you really want to get freaky with it, you can toss a grenade in there first too, and just be like, hey man, I don't know, here's 6-7 mortal wounds on the charge, and then come in there and just bop
I have had the worst luck against the grenade strat.
them.
And if you're listening, you know who you are. The last
grenades
3 games
did-
I've played against you, he's
did
been
well?
like, "Oh, here's 6 dice, grenades. Take 5. Wait, what? Take 4. Take 5. Take 6. Like, what? Stop it!"
And of course, you turn around and go like, "Well, I also have grenades," and you're like, "Take
Two.
one, take
Yeah.
one."
All
I'm sorry.
right. Well, I spent my CP anyway. Yeah. So, Thomas, what did you learn this week?
I learned. So I found the OC rules. So the modifiers: you can't lower leadership below a 4+ or better than a 9+. Armor and penetration and objective control can never be modified to worse than 0, so you can't make it 0.
Okay.
Move and range characteristics never be reduced to less than 1, so you can always at least move 1 inch.
Oh, well, okay. You got that going
Characteristics
for you.
of 20+ and NA can never be modified, so there you go.
Yeah, if an airplane, like airplanes that say they move 20 plus, half move, okay, I'm half of infinity. You got me.
Yeah. If an ability modifies damage characteristic, does mortal wounds, we know how that one works. So, yeah, there you go.
Okay. Well,
You
yeah,
can be
you
OC
can.
zero. That is a
OC0.
pain in the butt.
Super.
It was
annoying.
very relevant in our game. I was like, "Oh, okay." So you're just standing there like 3 inches away, and I just don't score any primary. Like I killed them immediately afterwards because they're just dudes, right?
I mean, they're admech. That's
They're
what they do is die.
But that costs you primary for a turn. That's all sometimes you need.
So he had 3 units of them, and he strung them out long ways and ran them at me sideways and said, "So every time you get on a point, I go get on the point after you and just stop you from scoring." Okay.
How close does that have to be to do that?
Like 3 inches. So like, I mean, they're pretty quick. And if they just stand on the side of the wall, wait for you to go on a point. Like, okay, I'm on the point. Next turn, I'll score it. They go, okay, just walk out. Yeah, you killed the unit. But,
Better put some big boys on there then, I guess. Not once OC ones.
yeah, I was looking at my list and like, I don't have any OC2 guys.
Well,
in
even
this one.
still, I think those guys they're battle line troops, right? It's the it's the not the Rangers, the other ones.
Yeah.
No, yeah, and they're OC2. So I mean, they put 2 guys on it. They got OC4. You have to have 5 guys then if you're OC2.
Yeah.
Like get out of here.
Unless you just like move block the objective, so you're on the outside of the rim, and then they can't
Sure.
move within an inch of it. And then if they're advancing, so they'd have to charge you and hopefully kill them. And then
Well, yeah,
Well, the thing is, they can just like they don't get on the point with them. They get on the point with something else, and
Yeah.
they go, "You're OC0. I'm OC. I don't care. More than 1. So
Right.
that's my point now."
I could see if there's just guys standing there, they just run next to them and good, right?
Mhm.
To try to prevent it, I guess. You know, you have a tank that has multiple OC, and then you have to keep the OC at the off of it to kind of keep that from happening. But yeah, I get it.
AdMech's one of those armies that like you rarely run into, just because it's so expensive to collect, and there's so few players that actually play it well. And when you do run into a good AdMech player, you're like, I did not know that was coming. Okay, you surprised me.
Yeah, and it's one of those things
I've
like you never play it, so like when you do actually run into somebody, you're like, I have no clue what your army does, man. Like
They
I
have
have
all
no
the
idea what your
advantage.
strats are, what any of your like relics do.
Yeah,
They have all the advantage
Start from
against you.
0.
Yeah, it's tough. It's interesting because everyone's just like poo poo's head mech, and you're like, do we even know what it does? Is it
I
bad or-
didn't, and I found out the hard way, and I still ended up winning that game, but it was very close because they're still AdMech, right? So and I'm still Space Marines. So
I mean, yeah, you can still punch him and shoot him to death very easily.
I had 3 Marines left on the table, and I was like, "Who wants some? Those guys over there, cool. I'm gonna go punch them. Yeah, I'm gonna shoot
Nice.
you. I'm gonna punch you. I'm gonna throw a grenade at you. Like, get out of here."
It's funny because like Marines, you know, they're so widespread, but they're such a wide player base in terms of skill level. So you have like Marines that are played poorly and Marines that are played really well, and you never know what you're going to get. And I think they're one of the lowest, if you take any stock in GW's percentage win rates of all the armies, which is kind of crazy because we all play Marines, right? And we're like, Marines are fantastic. They're not like the necessarily the top dog, but like if you have a good pilot behind them, they can do all the things you want them to do. So
It's you know, I hate to use the parlance because everybody uses that term, but they have a low skill floor but a very high skill ceiling.
they definitely do. We use that a lot to our advantage around here. Like, and we all come up with some weird, different versions of the kind of standard Marine lists to try to squeeze the most power out of them, if you will. And we do like some Marines around here.
So, speaking of weird lists, Nick, let's have we're into our main segment now. How about an
Hold on, I
update
didn't
on
get
the?
to do my. What did I learn? I learned something
Oh,
this
sorry.
time.
What'd you learn?
I'll
What'd
have
you
my
learn?
Remembered in the
interruptions for
beginning of the
later.
episode.
I'm sure I'll remember something new I learned somewhere else. But so real quick, I played a lot of the new orcs. So the book isn't all the way out yet, but we've had some practice games against some folks that have access to some of the leaks, and or at least they're guessing. I don't know. There's stuff out in the wild. We don't know points and stuff, but we know the rules. And so we played some of the new orcs. And so it's interesting to play against all the detachments. One of the detachments, I think it's the Bully Boys one where you can double wog. They have a stratagem that says after you declare that you're going to fall back. So there's like, I've already made the decision, I'm falling back. They spend the strat on that one target, and you count as if you're battle shocked falling back. So you basically take the desperate escape test at a -1. So it means on a 1, 2, 3, you just die. And so I'm falling back with Calgar, a Vitreous Guard, and a one last guy because I will survive for my honor company heroes. I'm falling back. I'm playing a strat on you. I'm like, I could just lose Calgar here if I just roll 1, 2, or 3. And he's like, I'm like, do I got to roll for each guy? He's like, just roll all the dice and then you get to pull which guy. And I was like, oh man. And I rolled it and I passed one of them. So at least Calgar's alive. And I'm like, I really want the Vitreous to be alive as well. So what I learned was CP reroll, the stratagem, reroll one of your saves or whatever, also includes desperate escape test. You can reroll that 1, 2, 3. So I was like, oh, I did reroll it and I failed. So I still lost the victory. But
Didn't
Calgar was
help this
alive.
time, but now you know.
Now so that's interesting because who would think to re-roll that, but that was actually a pretty critical moment in the game. I'm like, hey, that's so brutal. I don't want to fall back. I need to shoot you. Sorry,
I've
Calgar.
also had people turn their eyebrow up at me when I re-rolled a hazardous test. You can re-roll a single hazardous test to see with it.
That's absolutely right. Yeah, I've done that before too. So yeah, it's just those obscure things, I guess. If you're not taking hazardous too often, or who has a CP to re-roll that, right? Like that's not.
I'll say that. The last thing I needed was another excuse to burn CP on stupid stuff.
Right.
Just re-roll everything.
Yeah, right.
All right. So moving on. I learned something.
So your list updates and what we've been working on, Nick. Last time we talked about the Blue Lagoon, your Gladius Ultramarine detachment. How's that been going?
I've been having a lot of luck with it. It's not been like big blowout wins, but it's been definitely like I was saying earlier, there's an answer to every problem. It's just you have to find it, and you have to find it in your command phase. Like that's when you do all your planning for this list and this detachment, and like you kind of have to really make a game plan. So I find myself staring at a table for like 4 or 5 minutes straight, going like, all right, check it out. So these guys can go in this. We'll put them in this doctrine, and then these guys come in over here. I have to do the main doctrine for everybody else. We'll get all right, check it. All right, 2 CP. All right, yeah. We can make this happen. So like, it's definitely like a very different way than I'm used to playing. I'm used to playing very reactive with the Tyranids and with the Vanguard Marines, where it's just like you come to me and I do stuff, and based off what I have left on the table, my next turn, then I'd be like, okay, I can make a plan with this and play a game. But yeah,
I wouldn't go so far as to say you're the aggressor, but would you agree that you're kind of the active player, for lack of a better term?
You are definitely putting your finger on the scale and going, it weighs 3 pounds. Tell me I'm wrong. And you're like, okay. So like, if you're playing against somebody who's hyper aggressive, and Thomas knows this because you played Gladius forever, it's like you set little traps for people.
Yeah.
And you go, I have this unit right here. I'm gonna go put a toe on that point. Do you want to go take them off the point? Like, I care if you kill them because I don't want to lose. I'm a Space Marine. I have like 12 units. I can't afford to just throw them away willy-nilly. But like, so I have to be hyper competitive with trades on these things. So like I said, generally I don't find that I'm being the aggressor. It's more just like I'm gonna watch what you do, and then I'm gonna go, okay, next turn, I'm gonna have this whole Rube Goldberg machine, this mousetrap set up, and I'm gonna have to like flip over that first domino and just see what happens, because it does come down to dice most of the time. You can set up a nice little plan, nice little like trap, and be like, okay, I can bring my Inceptors over here, and if I double up with more Inceptors over here, and I got Hellblasters over here, and like, yeah, okay. But like for me right now, trying to figure out the biggest thing is trying to figure out how much like warheads on foreheads do I need to apply in any given situation?
What a
I
phrase.
feel like
What
that's a
turn of phrase.
that's a mileage thing, though, right? Like you have a
Oh, yeah.
general feel for like the aggressors can kind of do this, that unit can kind of do that reliably.
Yeah, we were with Thomas hanging out, and then I was playing against one of the Votan guy, and I was looking at him, I was like, "Hey, Thomas, do the aggressors kill one of the land fortresses?" And we're like, "Probably, if they're fully buffed up, right?" You know, I was like, "Okay." I was like,
It does
"I'm gonna
10
try it."
wounds. If you armor contempts it, right? Like it should only be
Right?
about 10 wounds, but
Yeah. So it's like that's kind of the thing where I'm like, I think, and like basic brain math says that like, yeah, probably if everything goes to plan, like
Mhm.
okay, yeah, the average dice says the thing, but like that's like I said, mileage. Trying to get a feel for like, I have 10 Hellblasters with the lieutenant. Like, what does that reliably kill? Like, what do I need to add extra shots into, or do I need to save a CP for a grenade just to like make sure that I kill this unit, kind of thing?
Fair enough.
But I did add a repulsor executioner into the list.
So how did you like that? I mean, I saw you do it. I didn't get to watch the whole like response of the game. I saw it disappear at one point, so I didn't know what it had done.
It is very threatening. It is not necessarily going to kill anything, but it is the same that when I was playing Tyranids I had with the Execranes. People see them and go, "Oh, I can't get shot with that." You see that
Matt
gun,
said
you
the
go,
same thing. It's like
you,
it draws fire
you,
like crazy.
yeah. You look at that gun, and you go, "I can't. No, I don't want to get shot with that." How many other guns does it have on it? Like 30 other shots? What do you
Yeah.
like? Yeah,
I
it's the
played
first
that
time you
thing
shoot
enough.
it.
I'm like, get that thing can just shoot all day long. Get over it. I'm not. I have no respect for that damn
You're
thing.
3 minutes into like shooting this one unit, being like, "All right, and here comes the heavy bolter." And you're like, "How many guns does it have, man?"
Oh, and I shoot
Stop.
the Hunter Slayer or the Hunter
Yeah.
I
Killer.
always
Yeah.
forget to shoot the Hunter Slayer. I always forget. Stupid missile.
So I like it. It's not expensive enough to like make me just be like, "That's not worth it."
Hmm.
But I find that, and sometimes it does just like crater somebody, right? You put a slug the size of a dude through somebody, and it's like, oh, okay, well, I just did 20 damage to that guy, so
Well,
thumbs up.
the main gun went through twice, and you failed both your saves, and I rolled a 5 and a 5. So take 18 damage. What do you want me to do? Like,
Yeah. How many wounds do you have? Nah, it ain't enough.
Yeah.
sometimes it just doesn't.
And then sometimes you just whiff. Just
Yeah.
completely like, I rolled 2 ones. Well, moving on.
Yeah.
I have a hard time moving on because I'm like, I expect some work out of you, big tank with this big scary gun. Like, and if it just points in the ground and blows some dirt on the opponent's face, I'm like, I don't think that's enough.
It is scary enough though, because it can just turn on for a turn and go. I mean, whatever that is over there, I don't care what it is. Just pick it up. I don't care. Like, and the guy standing next to it, yeah, take 5 wounds on them too. I don't care. So you do have to respect it, and it's like what you said, Mac, when we were talking about it a while ago. It's you hate to put it and pay points and put it in your list, but you also hate seeing them on the other side of the table. When somebody else is playing them, you're going, "Oh man, I do not want to play against that."
There's
So,
so
like-
much in the Marine Codex that's like that. It's I take it out immediately when I'm making a list. But if I play it, like, you have 3 of those in your list? Oh man, I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Yeah. So it's serving its purpose, right? I think I need to be more strategic with it, with its transport capacity, because you can put 3. I have 3 lone eradicators, 2 units of 3, so you can put 3 of them in there. They can get out, get extra movement, get extra line of sight on people. Which I did one where they hopped out the other side of a wall. I shot a transport and I had the tank on the other side of the wall. So I'm like, whichever side you get out on, I got guns on you. So it's it has some cool stuff like that. I also have intercessors in here, just regular guys to sticky objectives with Ventress, and they can get in the whip. So the problem I was having with those guys was I would start them on my home objective. Okay, turn 1, I sticky this objective, great.
Go rip
And then I'll be
around.
like, I'm too far away from any other objective to get there turn 2. So it's like, well, okay, well, I'll move some other guys over there. Now I'm like, well, now I have nobody to screen in my backfield. So now they ended up standing there. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm not really getting a lot of use out of them just standing around, because I also have infiltrators in the list, and their job is to stand around. Like, that's what they do. You pay 100 points to go, this is my corner, don't come into my corner.
Yeah. But if your objective is sticky, it frees up their positioning a good bit.
Yeah. So if they start on the objective and the tank starts near them, the Eradicators start inside the tank, get out, get into a better position mid-table or off on a flank where they got some line of sight.
Yeah.
And then these guys sticky the objective, move forward, get in the tank. So the next turn, get out of the tank. Now you're on a different objective. And you sticky that. Also, speaking of like we were talking about earlier with baiting people with stuff, that's a really good bait unit because I'm gonna go stand this objective. If you don't kill me, it's my objective, and even if you kill me after that, it's still my objective. You still have to come take it off me. And Ventress doesn't really do much to the army outside of turn one. You know, basically you're giving one unit loan up or not loan up, infiltrate, deep strike. There we go. Jesus. You give him, but then after that he's like, I'm just the dude. I got a nice gun, got a good sword.
I mean, it's Ultramarines. I would believe you that it gave all three of those abilities to one unit.
I think you could technically do that with a Vanguard and another character in that unit. I don't know what good that does you, but you could do it.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah, my experience with the stickies is very similar. Like you sticky it, you either jump into a transport or you just run towards the next objective, hoping you can like sticky it on a later turn, and then inevitably they never make it, and it just becomes this big like investment in the points that the sticky doesn't matter because you still need to leave somebody back to the screen. You can't let someone deep strike on it. Even if you have infiltrators, you while maybe they don't get to stand directly on it, they're still pretty much on it because you're just like, don't get behind enemy lines or don't deep strike, in rapid ingress. And you're like,
capture enemy outposts. So you still have to have somebody around there too.
You're like, you might as well just have infiltrators standing on it, and then the sticky didn't matter. So you're like, oh, maybe they start in the transport, and then turn one, they move in advance and jump on the other objective, and then you're like, maybe that's better. So that turn two, they could sticky it there, and you're like, but I could just have some scouts, or I could just have a lone up lieutenant, and you're like, you start going through the progression, and you're like, each of those have their own issues.
And
so
then
I don't know.
Inevitably, I play against somebody that has sticky.
I don't know, and you're like, I could have sticky too.
Like, man, that's really good. Good ability. I should get some sticky.
They're in and out so much. 80 points. You're like, I just could be finding something that could kill something instead of these 80 points that
it's
are staying.
Always I have 80 points left over, and you go, it'd be really nice in that list. Sticky objectives.
I mean, they are OC2.
Oh so yeah, no
and you can give a power weapon or
a thunderhammer or a fist.
Power fist, thunderhammer. I usually put thunderhammer. It's very rarely relevant, but
I'll take it in two dev wounds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Thunderhammer. You better have oath on that thing because it's going to miss with hitting on.
Like I said, they're kind of the bait unit, right? Like
sure.
They're more like, I'm going to hold this objective unless you come over and do it. And if you come over here, it's going to be really bad for you.
I mean, there's a reason you don't see lists with 60 intercessors in it, right?
Yeah.
Although, I have thought about it.
Every time I put them in and I expect them to do something, you're like, now Euro's got a unit. They're OC extra. They got some guns. They're assault. They could do stuff. Oh, they can action. You're like, they're never in the right place. They're
not as good as the 9th edition intercessors were. That unit was, especially for Ultramarines. Mm-hmm. That unit was very tasty.
That was so good. That was such a mainstay. I'm sad because I've got a lot of intercessors that I really like, and their guns, different profiles, just not the basic mashed together profile sucky.
So, speaking of bad profiles,
you're going to lead with that?
Thomas has an update to his Gladius list that he has already submitted to a tournament.
Oh, man.
The night before lists were due. He convinced himself of
beautiful.
Dear listeners, you will never guess what he has convinced himself is the next latest.
Wait. If you're watching at home, I have it right here. Look.
He has, honest to God,
I have to paint it, but it's there.
He has, honest to God, convinced himself of Firestrike servo turrets.
Servo turret. Never seen in the wild. They're here. They exist.
I have never seen a physical representation
they're bigger
of that
than I thought. They're pretty big. They're pretty. They got I don't know if that's a 60 mil base. What size that is?
Is that dreadnought sized?
The baby dreads. I haven't even seen a baby dread in so long. I think it is at 60.
Well, you figure a Centurion is on a 50, so that's got to be at least a 60.
It's bigger than a Centurion. Yeah.
So
tell you about how I got to this, and then this. So we've been practicing like crazy. It's even more high pressure than what we normally are around here in terms of list iterations and practice games and Theory Hammer. It's because we have this big team event in New York end of the month, Battle for Salvation. So our team's going up there, and we're tweaking lists, trying to figure out what list we want to take. We're trying to meta the meta, trying to anticipate what the opponents are going to bring and what our armies can do into it, how that pairs in Matrix, the whole team craziness process. And I'm going through my list, and I've had a stable Gladius list for a long time, but it's 1985, and that 15 points just irks me to no end, right? Whenever they tweaked the points on Inceptors and changed them, there wasn't really easy way to adjust for those points. So it ended up just being off points. And so I was like, well, what could I get if I, and when you start doing that, trying to squeeze 15 points, you end up having to take out 2 or 3 units to get, the points to line up. And I kept doing it, all the iterations, I kept coming back to like 75 to 80 points. And you're like, if you go through Marines and you're like 80 points, 85 points, now we have a few more like, that's pretty good. 80 points, you got the Intercessors, you got a whole bunch of characters. You got
a lot of characters.
Some stupid vehicles, like I don't need a drop pod, I don't have a Rhino, and then you get an Impulsor, which is interesting if you have guys to put into it. But in my list, I was like, no Impulsor. Then you get, and you're like, I need some anti-tank. Oh, I already got some Eradicators. Oh, man, 15 more points again, like the other way. And so what I started digging around was, instead of taking another unit of scouts or some other utility unit, I wanted a killing unit. I wanted some kind of damage unit. And I found the Fire Strike Servo turret, 75 points. Not the cheapest thing, but also not the worst thing. And everyone's looking at me like, it moves 3. That was everyone's response. It moves 3. And I'm like, I don't care how far it moves. That's not what it's supposed to do.
It's also range 36. So like
it's pretty far from my perspective. I'm like, 36 is pretty good.
Put him wherever you want, and just that's where he hangs out.
Bring it in. So my idea of this thing is you put it in from reserve, right? It's just like another unit of Eradicators in terms of like its purpose. Come in from the reserve, shoot at something, and possibly die, right? Like maybe it lives, maybe it doesn't. It's got a 2-up save, 6 wounds. You can take it to a unit of 2. Now you're like, I'm all in taking 2 of them for 150 points. I really tried to make that point happen, but I couldn't.
It is a vehicle, right?
It is a vehicle. So you can shoot out of combat if it matters. And it's gun, so let's talk about its gun. 2 shots hitting on 2s, because it's got a Tech Marine driving this thing. Hits on 2s. So you don't necessarily need to oath something to shoot it if you're coming from reserves, because typically you're not. You got oaths other places. That's the big problem with Marines. You're like, yeah, I get rerolls everywhere, except only on the thing I need to, unless it's built into the profile. And but the weapon's twin linked, so it's 2 shots, 36 inches. It's a baby las cannon, strength 10, AP 3, D6 plus 1 damage. So you're like, if I'm going to shoot at a tank, it's not playing the Eradicator game where I'm like, I'm re-rolling for 5s. It's strength 10. It's re-rolling because it's twin linked for 4s, right? If you're shooting at a Rhino, 3. It's like, oh, I can get on board of this. D6 plus 1. It's not re-rolling all the damage like Eradicators, but it's a little bit cheaper, right? So you're like, you make the context of, is 36 inches versus 18 inches, 9 wounds of 3-up save, re-rolling everything, versus 6 wounds of 2-up save, toughness 6, they're both the same. So you start doing the math and you're like, that's interesting. And then you're like, okay. And then you're like, what's its special rule? And its special rule is it overwatches on 4s. And you're like, I don't know if 1's enough to like tempt the overwatch, but if I had a 2-man stack, 4 shots hitting on 4s, if some random tank drove up, a knight, little, carnivore or something, I'm like, I'd overwatch it. A Rhino wants to jump out, like you're playing Dark Eldar, they like, I want to move my transport up, jump out and assault you, and you're like, if I blow that thing up in Overwatch, those guys don't get to assault. That how that work, right? And you're like, oh, Overwatch on 4s, no Dark Eldar wants to risk that. Like that transport's going to go up in flames, right? They can't reactive 4+ invulnerable save. You're like, it's bad. It's real bad for them. So I was like, but we have to go to this tournament. Lists were due on Sunday. I'm literally having this epiphany on Friday or on Saturday night. So I literally go in my closet. I'm like, of course, I got all sorts of stuff in there. I'm like, 2 Fire Strike Servos. I built them. I'm like, let's play. And everyone's like, we're tired. We don't want to play anymore. I'm like, but look, Fire Strike Servos. So no one would play a game with me. And Sunday comes around. And I'm like, I got to decide on this list. And I'm like, hey, guys. And everyone's like, it moves 3 inches. It moves 3 inches. It's terrible. I'm like, no, there's something here. I got it.
I got a feeling about this one.
And everything's like list by committee, but I'm like, I'm not submitting to your list by committee. I'm putting it in. I don't care if I play the game with it or not. It's coming in. So I've kind of the points didn't line up to put 2 in. It was just I kept coming with 25 points left, and I was like, well, I can't let those kind of points go. If I can't let 15, I'm not going to let 25 go. But I got to 1995, 1 Fire Strike Servo turret and 2 Eradicators is kind of my current build of anti-tank into my Gladius. So we'll see if it's enough. I played 1 practice game on TTS today after lists were due with the list against the new orcs. And yeah, it was it did what it needed to do. It shot some stuff. It threatened Overwatch, so they had to stay away because they didn't want to risk it. And then I walked onto my 3 inches onto an objective that was nearby after I moved. And
sometimes the implication is all you need.
Yeah, it was. It really was. He's like, I got 1 wound. If you get one of these 4+ to go through, I'm probably dead. I'm like, you don't want to come over here. And he's like, I'm back.
Because of the implication.
So there you go, Fire Strike Servo. So we'll have more to report back after this tournament. It's in 2 weeks, so we might have an episode before then. I'm not sure, but I'm excited. Of course, it wouldn't be a tournament ever for Thomas Bird if I didn't have something new to paint before the tournament. So I got to get some Fire Strikes, and I'm so excited. I can't wait. I hope the new data slate points and updates, like that unit is not seen anywhere. Like nobody takes that thing. It's regarded as one of the worst Marine units. Which I don't know why. I was like, well, it's not that bad, right? I've found like all these use cases for it, right? Points, whatever, But I'm hoping against hope that points for that will go down just a little bit, and I'll be like, the hero of the Imperium just got cheaper, and I'm like, this thing's going to do some stories, so I'll have some stories to tell.
I like.
And Mac was like, oh boy, Mac was like, this is you. You've gone over the deep end here. Freaking Fire Strikes. If it does something, it's going to be all in Mac's face, right there. I'm going to be waving it in his face.
I think I think they're cool looking.
They are a cool model. And it's push to fit. It's interesting. I built it and I was like, it doesn't need to be glued. It's not glued. I'm like, I'll probably glue it once I put it all together. But like to take it apart and paint it, I'm like, oh, this is actually pretty easy to paint.
Well, I hope they're decent. I'll be honest with you. I hope they are.
If you
honestly, it's neat, and it's like a Marine unit that you like. I don't get to play with a lot of different units. Like you kind of like, these are the staples. These are the ones I always use. You bounce back and forth between these 3 choices, and you're like, it'd be nice to have something else that's relatively like useful. And then you're like, this is a completely different unit that does different things that I haven't used in a long time. I'm like, it's like a whole new tool in my belt. I'm like, ooh, I like a lot of tools in there. So.
If you could get 2 of them for like 125 or 130. I would 100% be like,
go for sure. Yeah.
If they were 65 a pop, you get 2 for 130.
Yeah. If they drop 10 points per, be like, ooh, Thomas can be dancing in the street.
That's not a crazy ask. Like
it's not crazy either, right? Yeah.
I don't feel like that's like oh my god, they're 25 points a piece. Like no.
I don't need to be like dirt cheap. I'm like just a little off the top. Like
how many wounds do they? What's their toughness and wound count?
Toughness 6 wounds. 2-up save.
So it's basically like 2 aggressors with a 2-up save.
Yeah. It's an interesting profile. You're like, I don't know that, like a random tank's going to kill it shooting back at it. You're like, oh, you risk Overwatch and you might not kill it. You're like, I might get to also, twice.
If it's priced appropriately too, like it's another like thing that somebody else has to target. Like it's a threat that you can ignore it. I mean, it's just a dude. He just moves 3 inches, man. He doesn't really go any far. He just stands there. Yeah. But like he's going to continually threaten a section of the table and just be like, do you want to shoot what you actually want to shoot, or do you want to shoot this guy over here with a gun?
It's just going to keep popping off at 36. And if you come in from reserve, you're like, I'm just going to set it up where it has an angle. Maybe it's in cover.
Yeah, and cover an objective.
Yeah, if it's on Gladius, you're just like, well, I can still advance and shoot. I might be right on the corner, so I'll just like, investigate signals. Stupid gun's going to investigate some signals. Good, I don't have to send anybody over there. Oh, you want to kill it? Oh, I'll overwatch you now. You're like, oh no, behind enemy lines. I'll run over there, get some behind. So like, I don't hate it. So I'm hoping for big things.
So speaking of hoping for big things, I had kind of a frustrating night. I forget, it was either last week. I think it was last weekend, and it was late at night, and I just gotten done playing a game of Hot Lizard Drop, and I got kind of frustrated, and I said, "Why do I have this trash in my list to hold objectives? What do I give a crap about that? What if we just went all gas, no brakes?" and I'll score points on your dead body.
He did. I think I went over to pick up. He printed me some multi-melted bits, and I was like, I need to pick this up for this tank list that I'm not going to play now. And we were talking about it. So all brakes, all gas, no brakes. And I'm like, what are you talking about? So he's like going through it. I'm like, no scouts, like no infiltrators, no guys. They're all killing guys. I'm like, what?
Just I don't care about that. Sure, go try to take my home objective if you're alive. But just create such an issue in the midfield and on your deployment zone with everything, and kill everything, and just kill. That's all I'm focused on. I'm playing old school 40K.
And score when you're dead.
It was after the game that Nick and I played, where it was the Vanguard Vets and the Ignore modifiers, and I was like, man, that's really good. How do I maximize that? I was like, what's the best melee unit that Marines have? Well, unfortunately, it's Blade Guard Vets. Okay, what can I do with that? Well, giving them lethal and, fall back and charge is really good. Oh, good. Then the lieutenant can have the upgrade. I could put a captain with them. Yeah, that's good. But salamanders have a captain, Adrax Agatone, who gives you full wound rerolls. Well, that's the other issue with them.
That turns out
they can get +1 to wound.
Because they're salamanders, right? That's one of their strats.
Now I have a unit of Blade Guard that put out roughly 30 attacks with the lieutenant's attacks of 5 -2/2 with full wound rerolls with lethal that I can give +1 to wound with like full wound rerolls and reroll 1s to hit without having to get oath.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in. I'm way in.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing about that, right? Like your only expense in that unit, if you want to spend, is 1 CP for +1 to wound. They automatically reroll wounds because of the captain character Adrax. They reroll 1s because Blade Guard ability is either reroll 1s to hit or reroll 1s for your invulnerable save. So you're like, I oath that thing over there, so I don't have oath. I'll reroll 1s to hit. And then you're like, +1 to wound if you need it. You're like, that's a lot. That's a lot.
That unit can do some serious killing power.
Plus, Adrax is like got a 3 damage hammer, right? Like
he does. It's 5 attacks of 10 -2/3.
Strength 10, so +1 to wound, strength 10.
And he hits on 2s, nice. So the reroll 1s from the base unit. Basically, he hits every time he attacks.
Still good, man. That unit like slaps. And then then you're like, okay, that's all great. And Blade Guard just like became power. And then you're like, well, the lieutenant with ignore modifiers turns that AP2 into something relevant because you're not like, well, I armor contempt, take a bunch of 4-ups Marines or 3-ups. You're like,
I'm a Satan, or I'm -2 wound.
Oh, Satans don't want any part of that because it's just like, hey, half damage. No,
Satans like run away from them actively.
Hey, I'm toughness 11. You're like +1 to wound.
I'm battle shots. I don't care. I'm OC1. Lethals. This is mine. Yeah.
Ooh, it's a lot of beef that you're like, wait a minute, the implications aren't all readily apparent. You're like, because he's telling me this thing, and I'm like, yeah, whatever. That sounds. Blade Guard, kind of meh, but if you spend all the points on them, you can make them slap. But then like they run into problems with tough things and this, and he's like, he throws it all out there. I'm like, oh no, they start going through all the targets that are bad problems for Blade Guard. And you're like, that guy with that one little relic. He's like, nope, not a problem anymore. Oh, that guy is pretty easy. Oh, this is actually Satans. You're like, please give me 2. I might split attacks. You're like, oh, that doesn't make any sense.
And I have been doing that. I've been putting Adrax into something and then the unit into the other things.
Can you imagine in a world you like walked up to the Necron guy, he like charged 2 Satans at you, and you're like, I charge him with 1 Blade Guard unit and I kill both.
I mean, that's the dream,
like,
right?
You're like, huh?
So unfortunately I had to go back to the Land Raider Redeemer because I had to give them a transport. Not a big deal. But I also added a second unit of Vanguard Vets with another captain, just so that I can deploy one and put pressure on the table. And then there's another unit in Deep Strike. That you dealt with the 1.
10-man?
Yeah, another 10-man.
Ooh, yeah, because nice. When we played, when I was testing out the Hot Lizard drop, one of the things I really liked, I put a lot of stuff in reserve, and then like you became this like, hey, I made the wrong decision in this particular match. Sometimes I need to be on the board because they're rushing me. I need that presence turn 1. And sometimes I need to deep strike them in, or I deep strike them in, and then they screen really well, and I can't really shoot the target I want. They come in, shoot some chaff, and then they get got. So I just put it on the board, and it was like very nice. But sometimes you're like, oh, they're really far back. I really wish I could drop them in. So as we were kind of comparing notes and talking about what's more gas we can put on this this fire that we got here. And the blade guard was like an interesting thing. We took out the airplane and took out the because how are you paying for all this, right? Put the Land Raider back in. And you're like, what if you had 2 of these 10-mans? Well, then I need a strat. You can't do the strat. Well, just give them a captain too. Like they both have captains. I can't do it at the same time unless you really, really spend CP, but you don't necessarily need to. Like one's on the board, one's dropping in. You're like, they still have that pressure of, I have to defend this deep strike, but also this other unit could just advance and shoot and freaking destroy me too. You're like,
being able to advance and shoot a flamer that has dev wounds, that Vulcan, like it, again, you add it all up, yeah, sure, but it's the list is playing very aggressively and it's doing exactly what I want. It's everybody is just kind of like, and the people I'm playing know what the list does, so it's not like they're caught off guard by like, I didn't know it could do that.
We all know, but it's also like, it's still like the problems it's presenting you. Like this is bad.
It's funny.
12,
the games I've played, 12. My opponents go, all right, I'm gonna wait a minute. No, I'm not. And then they like just start backing away, and it's like, don't back away. You'll just die over there instead of over here. Come back over here.
It's a hard challenge to solve if you can't take the slap.
The list is. I find myself rapid ingressing with it way more than previous editions. There are previous iterations of the list, and that's just sort of because I have so much stuff on the table that's as aggressive. It's forced people to play further back. And rapid ingress has become more of a secondary option for me or a vector for me, a more viable vector to bring stuff in.
The Vanguard vets, like
Vanguard vets, that's a good rapid ingress target.
They have some decent melee. They have some underrepresented melee. So like if they can come in and punch, it's like it's not insignificant. So like the flames do work. Don't get you wrong. That's like their main primary damage, but they don't mind coming in and slapping somebody. Like Captain gives them extra strength. They got lethal hits on the charge.
1, right?
Yeah, -1.
Yeah. They're base 5/11s, and then they come in at 6/11s with lethals. You don't have to spend any CP on them. If you really want to, you can +1 to wound them. You're like, oh man.
Well, with 2 captains, because those are both battle tactics, one can flame and do dev wounds, and the other one can get +1 to wound.
Yeah. Well, you can't do the 2 captain strats in the same turn.
I know.
But yeah,
and typically what I'll do is one of them's getting armor contempt to try to live a little longer on one turn, and then it's the next battle round, and then I'll deep strike the other ones over there and do the dev wounds.
Yeah, I ran into that problem in one of the last versions I was running with double captains. You're like, I want a free strat, and then I'm like, okay, now the captain's charging in. The little slap captain, he's going to free strat too. You're like, oh crap, I used it this turn. Like, I can't use them both. But
I'm calling this one the snake belly button. It's
it's not Hot Lizard Drop like 3.0. It's like it's a whole new name now, right?
Because we're all on the table.
We're not dropping the lizards anymore. They're already on the ground.
Yeah.
They're just belly crawling.
Yeah, real fast.
I can just see the.
It keeps a lot of the same elements. It still has the Eradicator brick. It still has the 6 plasma inceptors. It still has Vulcan as company heroes. It's just a Redeemer, 20 Vanguard vets with 2 captains, the Blade Guard unit with a Lieutenant and Adrax, and a Lone Op Lieutenant who has the survivability upgrade they have, which it reduces damage by 1 or by half, unless it's a flame or melt a weapon, and then it goes to damage 1.
He's a Lone Op Lieutenant. Like he only has 4 wounds, but he does come with feeling of pain, 5 up. That's part of his base ability.
Op, stealth. He has a reactive move if you end within 9, and he has a 5 up feel no pain base. So reducing damage by half and a 5 up feel no pain, like that's so he's holding my home objective. He's the guy that goes, hey, don't come over here. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
he also gives you the pick a special objective, right? Reroll 1s against the on it.
Vulcan can point at a unit, and then I can pick your home objective or an objective way far away or out of line of sight and reroll 1s on that one. So it helps.
It's interesting because you can double pick and then you can like pick one. Because normally when you pick the lieutenant, like he only gets to pick once per game, and you're like invariably you mispick or the fight changes and it's now never on that place where you picked, and you're like, ugh, jeez.
I mean, I could just pick the same one as Vulcan's on, and that's we're going to fight right here, right now.
Yeah. Yeah, the all gas problem was like there's nobody that's sitting on the back doing nothing. They're all fighting. They're all attacking. They're all being aggressive. So you're like, we had to kind of look around, and I think the Lone Op solves that well.
It's an interesting list. It's very much. I don't want to say it's the Euro way, but it's the kill them all. We'll worry about score on 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah,
But
we'll
let's kill
score when you're
everything
dead.
right now.
Score when you're dead for sure.
So,
Which is an interesting way to play 40K, but if you haven't played it that way, it doesn't make a lot of sense until you get slapped in the face and you're dead, and then they just score all the points. You're like, damn.
Yeah,
that's
it's like that
rough.
all vehicle Iron Storm one,
Mhm.
where
Yeah.
it's like it's oppressive the amount of firepower coming off that thing. And
Yeah,
I think that
if
one
all
will
the
get
things
touched.
get to shoot you, that's a real bad day. Like, but
I think that
if you
Iron Hands list will get touched, or the Iron Storm list will get touched. I
Yeah.
think it will.
yeah, I expect that it will take some hits in the points, but we'll see. I mean,
I'm
Marines
hoping-
aren't like breaking the bank out here, so maybe they'll dodge the bullets.
Yeah, but I'm hoping the Black Templar specific 5-point
They need
upgrades
to,
for
because like
multi-meltas
it's so
go
bad
up.
if the Black Templars just keep getting all the Marines buffs, and then they just become just the default. Every Marine's got to be Black Templars, because like some of the other chapters have some neat things. It would be nice that they're a little bit balanced, efficient, subjectively, right? Like, hey, these guys clearly 5 points on multi-melta. Why would I ever take a regular tank when I could just take the multi-melta version and have extra shots? You're like, it's just better, right? Like, wouldn't give for some ultramarine multi-meltas. Come on now, like, they raid the damn armory.
Or,
Get some multi-meltas.
the chapter that's all about that, maybe, over here.
The flame guys, the green guys, they don't have any extra multi-meltas laying around.
No,
I find it hard to
Not
believe.
a spare, not a spare to square. Square to spare.
Man, I'll tell you what, if you could just like let me play Gilliman in the list, I'll be happy.
That'd be cool too. That would be cool.
It's been a while since we played some Gilliman. That was like
Dude.
early editions.
I still have that model from 8th edition already painted up, like ready to go. And it's like, keep looking at me like I keep trying to find points in the list too. I'm like 350. Like,
dude, the game has shifted so much. Like you look at like an Avatar and Incarn, those are like bully units, very difficult to kill, hard to kill, and you're like, throw a grenade, random mortal wounds over here. Like Gilliman does not want any part of that shenanigans, and he would just
but
he does get back up maybe, but like
if they made it to where if Gilliman's on the table, you got old school Oath of Moment where you got wound rerolls too. Yeah, you're paying 350 for it.
Like you're coming back in, baby. I can get it all back. Tagiris is coming back, baby. With Tagiris,
even if it just his ability was he picks a unit and you get wound rerolls like Vulcan does, you'd play him.
I would play him in a heartbeat. I don't care how much it costs.
Yeah.
I'll make it work. 5 strike servos all day, baby. We'll make it work.
Got 6 of them on the table.
All right, I'm at that point. We've descended into lunacy, and we're going to move on to lunacy. We're going to go on to our second segment of Know Your Enemy, and this one's going to be on everyone's favorite enemy, Tau.
Tau. They do seem to draw a lot of hate. They're like Eldar and Tau are like. I don't know that Eldar even gets as much hate as Tau. I don't know why. If you're like a long-time Tau person, you probably know. You probably faced some like someone somewhere got bad touched by Tau and they hate Tau for life.
Everyone hates Eldar because they're Eldar. Like everyone hates it because they're like, God, they're so tricky, and I hate playing against them. Whatever. Tau, everyone just hates because they're Tau.
Yeah, I don't understand. Well, I also, for some reason, am in the camp of I don't really like Tau, and I like to put some hate on them. But I used to own a Tau. I mean, I like Tau. I think there's some cool things there. The models are awesome.
The models are really cool.
But somewhere along the line, I lost my love for Tau. I don't play Tau anymore, and I'm like, I've been oppressively touched badly by those things, and I take great joy in putting my boot in some Tau.
So, basics of what they do. Tau work in pairs.
This is the new stuff, right? So, like
this is the brand new codex. This is the actual physical codex. So slight variations from the index. If you've played against them in the index, they still work in pairs. They still have a spotter or a guider and a guided unit. That's not the correct observer and guided, and then spotted. So Tau Unit A says Tau Unit B shoot better at enemy target. The B unit gets +1 ballistic skill. Period. No matter who spots, as long as they all have the for the greater good ability. Some of the auxiliaries, like the Kroot, they can't spot. They can't be spotted for either. So they don't have that, for the greater good ability. But if you're a Tau, if you wear Tau armor and use Tau equipment, you get this ability. If the observer has the marker light keyword, they remove cover for Unit B, for the shooter. Some nerfs, missile drones went down in AP. They were 722, now they're 712. Not that big a deal. One big change to drones, very few units can take duplicates of the same drone. So if you start looking at lists and you start seeing 1 marker light, 2 gun, 3 shield, 1, and you're going to be like, what? Huh? It's because they can't. So not a big deal. One small benefit to that is the gun drones basically give you 2 shots of 501 that are twin linked that are assault.
There you go.
So every unit's going to have assault in it.
They're going to have assault. But then you also, they used to take shield drones to give extra wounds to the crisis suits, and now you can't take as many, so the crisis suits don't have as many wounds.
The crisis suits all got split up, and they changed tremendously, but they're all used to be 6 wounds with the 2 drones, now they're all 5 wounds.
You can't take them in bigger squads now. You don't take them in.
You're limited to 3 only. And there are 3. But don't think
they're 3 different types of versions. Yeah,
they're not
different
bad.
Versions now. Yeah.
There's a lot of talk about, like, I don't like them. I think you're not reading the rules correctly. It is incredibly interesting, and we'll get to that, but that's one of the biggest points of this list of the army that made me really interested in it. Full disclosure, I had a Tau army in 10th edition. I like Tau. This is more of a list that I'm willing to play. Previously, the Kion detachment was the index detachment. Largely the same. The strats have all changed. It's still the same thing. We're on turn 3 going on. They get sustained 1 and 2. The strats are pretty gas in this, I'll be honest with you. They have kind of the Dark Angel thing where they get to pick an objective, and they have a strat that gets +1 to wound on that objective for the rest of the game. They still have to use the strat every time they want +1 to wound, and they can't change that objective. But it's the, haha, you're on my trap house. Now, any unit that I'm shooting, it's on my trap house, I'm going to get +1 to wound. And it's a battle tactic, so you can get it more than once. Every detachment has a way to increase the AP of weapons by 1. No matter what detachment it is. So
you pair that with ignore cover,
yeah. So
pretty
Mont
strong.
Ka is one of the new ones. Whereas Kion was turns 3, 4, and 5. Mont Ka is turns 1, 2, and 3. And Mont Ka says, if you are everybody gets lethal on 1, 2, and 3. If you are a guided unit, meaning someone spotted for you, you get assault on all your guns. Pedantically, the way it's worded, it can't work unless you already have assault. It's not intended. And that reading is so autistic, it's not even funny. That's a get out of here. That's not the way it was intended. And everybody knows that. It's because you can't be... Okay, so if I'm an observer and I'm guiding someone, the guided unit has to be eligible to shoot for them to get the benefit to become guided. And you only get assault once you become a guided unit.
And you've already, okay.
But get out
You're not technically eligible to shoot because you don't have assault, yeah.
Also, even if that's the way,
anymore,
even if that is the way it's intended, it doesn't matter because most every unit can't take duplicate drones, so they're all going to take an extra gun drone, which gives them an assault gun in the unit, so therefore they're eligible to shoot. So therefore, it's like, come on, if we're going to be that specific, get out of here.
Yeah, we'll work around it. Yeah.
Why would you even bother to mention that you give something assault if it already has assault?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it gives the other guns assault, but in the context of you can't do it, it seems kind of stupid.
It's dumb. Yeah. So in both Kion and Mont Ka, you're going to see Breachers and the Devilfish again. That's just they're just going to be point efficient.
Fish of Fury, baby. Fish of Fury.
Yeah, they're going to be good.
You get all the reroll wounds and all that stuff.
So Mont Ka has an interesting strat. Speaking of rerolls, if you kill a Tau Empire unit that's not a Kroot unit, their whole army gets to reroll hit rolls for the rest of the game against whatever killed that.
They hate you. They don't like it when you kill them. It's like Votan.
By the way, that can keep happening.
Oh, you keep giving it? You're like, every time I kill somebody, they get mad at you? Is that a stratagem? Tactic. Oh, boy.
You're like, aha, I had a great turn. I killed 3. You're like, cool, I get to reroll hit rolls against all 3 of those for the rest of the game.
Oh, shoot, don't split fire, man. You're going to set yourself up for 4 rerolls for free.
There you go. So if you're going to see Mont Ka lists with lots of here's a piranha. And it's going to go put it on an objective, and you're like, I got to bring it down. I got to kill something. So, yeah. So it's going
Sorry,
to create
problematic.
interesting trades.
Right.
Um, they can flat 6 move. They've got some interesting strats. But that's really the one that's in the Montcalm. That's the one that's going to make you go, I got to think about this a second. So if they're playing Montcalm, which is the 1, 2, and 3, be careful if they're sitting on a CP what you kill, because it's probably a trap. But you may have to kill, so you may want to try out OC in them, which will be difficult because they have a enhancement it's the only one of these I've ever seen in any army. It's an enhancement that goes on any Tau Empire model or character. At the start of the first battle round, before the first turn begins, pick an objective marker on the battlefield. All Tau Empire models within range of that objective get an extra OC.
Oh,
Well, they get to have their own cool guy objective.
Yeah.
It's just like extra power for them.
So now all the breachers are OC3. So they're just going to put 30 OC on that objective. That's mine.
Man, that's a lot of.
Or you battle shocked them. They're still OC1. It's interesting.
Yeah. That OC problem we can't stop.
They have what else? They can flat advance 6. They can improve AP but 2 units by 1. Nothing amazing there. That's really the one you need to know is they're gonna jump out and get you, or they're gonna throw something up front and go, you better not kill this. And that's in the Montcalm. That's in the turn 1, 2, and 3 one. The one that I'm most interested in, and the one that I think is going to make for a very interesting Tau army, is the Retaliation Cadre. So this one is specifically for battlesuits. This is I only want to play with the mechas because I think they're cool army.
I mean, yeah, guilty.
Yeah, you got me. All battlesuits, just battlesuits, get +1 strength on ranged weapons within 12. And if you're within 6, you get +1 AP as well. Now, why is that interesting? Because also they have a 2 CP strat to deep strike just outside of 3 with anything.
Drop within 3, the old Inceptor rule. 2 CP, though.
It's 2. But
battle tactic?
It is not. But it also means it's always 2 and never 3. So, double-edged sword.
Oh,
you can't increase the cost of it.
Last time I had a Vect character in my list to stop that, I was living on a different world.
I play against Vect almost every game I play. So
you're playing Dark Eldar every freaking 5 seconds. It seems like.
Other stuff they can do. They can auto blow up anything. They have an auto blow up strat.
Oh. Yeah, you're reading it to me. It's like you don't even have to be a vehicle. It's like even if you're not a vehicle, you can make it.
It can only be used on Tau battlesuit units. But it's when a Tau battlesuit model is killed. If it has Deadly Demise, you can choose to either roll a 1 or a 6. So if it's disadvantage, I don't want to blow up. I can't blow up right now. You can just not blow up. Or you can go, no, I want to blow up right now. And I do. If you don't have Deadly Demise, when that battlesuit model is killed that I use the strat on, all enemy units within 6 on 4 up, they take D3 mortal.
Okay.
Oh, you killed that stealth battlesuit. Sure did, buddy.
I was about to say, I was like, what battlesuit doesn't have Deadly Demise? Because the Crisis suits have the Deadly Demise like 1 or something, right?
No.
Nothing?
No. Battlesuits.
So regular Crisis suits and the stealth suits.
Yep.
I hadn't thought about the stealth suits. That's super.
Riptides do D6 when they pop.
Imagine a stealth suit running up and you're like, bam, explode on like 4 units, take all the mortals.
You're going to charge that unit. You sure did, buddy. You got him. You killed him. Anyway, so he blows up right now.
Charge into you. Like offensively, the suit side my guys into you, Avatar. Do you want to kill me? Like, good. Go for it. Bam. And you're all target. And this guy. And this guy.
But also, which guy killed him? That guy? Yeah, cool. +1 to hit against it.
Oh, no. So that's the Montcalm attachment.
Okay. I was like, don't get crazy now. We don't need that.
So...
so my brain started like the wheels started turning. It's like, ooh, yeah, no, turn around, I'm gonna run and like charge into like the orc from Helm's Deep. Dive in there.
So they also have the 1 CP strat. That battlesuit unit gets a 6 up feel no pain for this phase. Not a big deal. Not gonna be the end of the world. They have a 1 CP strat that's a battle tactic. Pick a battlesuit unit. When they shoot, if they target something that has 6 or more models, all their guns get sustained 1. If it's 11 or more, they get sustained 2 on all their weapons.
All right.
For 1 CP.
That comes really good on those battles, the burst cannon suits.
Or the Melta. I mean, I don't want to take a bunch of Melta on a 6 model like aggressor unit.
Yeah, right. Your eradicators over there with like 6 dudes in you going like, oh no, I don't
Especially
want
because
that.
they're Meltas and they just dropped in just outside of 3, and they're going to be strength 10, and they're going to be AP 5.
And min damage 3.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
pick some dudes up.
Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah, that's bad. That's bad.
So hold on to that because we'll come back to that. That's what's interesting in the Army. This detachment is worth taking for a 1 CP strat called the Torch Star Gambit strategic ploy. So it's always 1 CP. It's move, shoot, move. Straight up for a battlesuit unit. They just make a full move after their shooting attacks.
How far do they move? They are vehicles, so
It's just their normal
through
move.
walls. So 10 inches, maybe 12 if they have the character joined to them.
Standard battlesuits are 10. If they have a cold star attached, they go to movement 12.
12, yeah.
Okay.
So Ghost Keels are going to move 10. Riptides are going to move 10. Stealth suits are going to move 10. Seeing a theme here? And then they have a weird strat that's if you charge a battlesuit unit for 1 CP, I roll a dice for every model in the attacking unit, and on a 6, they take a mortal. No cap. No, as in, I'm not lying, but as in, there's no to a max of 6.
As the kids these days
As the kids like to say.
So it's like, I
would
don't
even-
like orcs.
So wait, the most you can do is uncap, but like you take a roll. If you charge into 20 guys, you roll for 20 guys.
Correct.
With your 1 suit.
Correct.
Whoa.
It's 1 CP, your opponent's charge phase, just after an enemy unit has declared a charge. And it gets better.
Ooh.
I charge you.
I target 1 Tau Empire battlesuit unit that was selected as the target of the charge.
Okay, so they charge you. That's I'm getting charged.
Cool, you've declared the charge.
Death Star Blossom.
The enemy unit must immediately take a battle shock test.
Ooh.
I'm still in my objective.
And you must roll 1d6 for each model in that enemy unit. For each 6, the enemy unit suffers a mortal wound.
Yowza. So engagement range shenanigans you have to mess around with. It's just like
you could just fail the charge too.
Yeah.
It doesn't say successful?
Just declare.
It is, when do you use it? Your opponent's charge phase just after an enemy unit has declared a charge.
Oh my god. You lose some guys and then now they're out of range of charge because you have to pull casualties before you make it in.
You could just mess that up too. You're like, I pulled this. And you're like, sure, man, you did it. Now it's an 11-inch charge.
That sounds god awful. I mean, Reigns. I mean, you don't have that many models, but I'm just thinking of some big units of like.
I mean, my Vanguard Vets charge, that's 11 dice. I don't want that.
You definitely don't want that.
Well, also, you take a battle shock test. If you fail it and then you fail your charge, now if you're on an objective, be like, well, at least if I fail the charge, I'll still be on the objective.
You're not OC-ing it. You don't even get to re-roll it.
There you go.
Like if you fail it, you might need to. Oh my god!
So you battle shock. Okay, well, you're battle shocked, so you're not gonna. You can't use strats on him. Well, hold on. You're still battle shocked on your turn and just your charge phase. So when it comes to my turn, I got one guy here. It's still my objective. You're battle shocked. Go away. So it's a little tricky. That's
a lot tricky. I don't know what you're talking about. Start setting up all sorts of bad scenarios for like I'm going to layer these bad scenarios for you. Like, one of these things go wrong. It starts to all go wrong.
Here's where it gets interesting.
Oh, it's not even interesting yet?
It's not even interesting yet.
What, we haven't got to the interesting part?
This is what I kept saying. I was like, guys, I'm telling you.
I'm going to hate more.
There's in this codex. Okay, so Retaliation Cadre. Two enhancements in here that I think are just bangers.
Okay.
Star Flare Ignition System.
Okay, yeah. I asked you what those were.
It's got to go on a battle suit, so you put it on a commander.
Okay.
At the end of your opponent's turn, if they're not in engagement range, they can go into deep strike.
Bounce, the old school Grey Knights.
Yeah, good.
Internal grenade racks. This one is
generally not where you want grenades to be.
It's fair. So,
internal? Oh, yeah.
So on a battlesuit command, so you can put this on a commander. The bear has the grenades keyword. I'm in.
Okay.
I didn't realize they didn't have grenades, but that's good. Everyone likes to have grenades.
Each time the bearer ends a normal move, you may select one enemy unit that it moved over during that move. If you do,
here we go.
Roll 66s. For every 4 up, they take a mortal.
It's got flyover grenades, and you can throw grenades with you get double grenade. And is it every time or is it once per game? The
You
grenade?
can triple grenade because I have the Torch
You can
Star
move again.
Gambit, which says move, shoot, move.
That's a normal move when you do the fallback move?
Target one Italian Empire unit of your army that has fly, that attacks have been resolved. Effect, if your unit is not within engagement range of one or more enemy units, it may make a normal move.
Oh, no.
So,
That's so ugly.
I have 12-inch move. So I'm going
There
to
goes the
rapid
Avatar.
ingress
There
over
goes
here.
Gilliman. There goes Gilliman. He just got Mortal Wound passed twice.
I'm going to fly over you. I'm going to grenade you. I'm going to shoot you. Then I'm going to fly over you again. Or I'm going to fly over something completely different and grenade that over there.
It's different phases too.
Yeah.
So it's like if you have a character that like you pick them up at the end of the phase, if they like get back up.
Yep.
So like Gilliman gets up, like you kill him in the shooting phase, and at the end of the shooting phase, he gets back up.
So good.
So like you move over him in the movement phase, kill him in the movement phase, he dies, gets back up at the end of the movement phase, then you shoot him and move back over
It's
him
that
again.
Avatar that stands back up in a 2-up. Cool. So take some wounds in the movement. Now I throw a grenade. Now he dies. Okay. He'll be back. I'm going to shoot those guys over there. Oh, he came back. How many wounds does he have? D3? Okay, cool. So I'm going to fly over him and do another 3. So he's dead, right? Okay, cool. I'll see you later. It's interesting because it allows you to be super creative.
How would I describe that as interesting?
Is it the model, the bearer of the with the relic in it has to fly over, or the unit?
Correct.
It's the guy, right?
Has to move over.
So it's not anybody in the unit.
Correct.
Does do it.
The boss.
It's just him.
But it does give grenades. The grenades keyword is now in the unit. So anybody from the unit you can measure to throw the grenades 8-inch.
That's still really good.
Super good.
So,
oh boy.
Let's move on because this is where we start to get and stack the layers. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. See?
Yeah.
This is getting
like
worse.
it.
And we're gonna have
like
Mac playing this soon, and it's like, oh boy, life's just got difficult.
Commander Farsight, he changed a little bit. Used to be once a game he could get full wound rerolls in melee. Big deal. He's got he has 4 attacks that are 10 minus 2/3 in melee. Who gives
the only guy that could fight in all of the Tau Codex?
Who gives that crap?
Right.
You give a crap now because he gives +1 to wound if the target is within 9 inches in shooting and melee. And once per battle round, you get a free strat, even if you've already used it.
He's a captain. He's a named guy that's a captain.
Yes, sir.
No, we don't need him giving out free stuff. Come on now. So what are they doing?
But he gives +1 to wound to any crisis unit he's with.
That's already? So
that's his default ability. He gives a +1 to wound.
Giving out +1 to wound.
Within 9.
Okay, but you move 12.
I'm deep striking because I'm stratting it, you know, for free. Oh wait, that one's not for free.
What's
3
that?
deep strikes not for free.
That one costs 2.
That's not bad attack.
So already in the retaliation, so now just himself, his plasma now within 6 inches is going to be 2 shots of 9 minus 4/3. Who are going to ignore cover because you're going to spot for him.
And he's going to be +1 to wound.
And he's +1 to wound.
+1 to wound. And then I'm going to move away. Maybe I'm going to move over you on the way out and then drop some more.
So there are 2 other commanders.
But that's not that guy.
Yeah, no, you can't have it.
Yeah. There are 2 other commanders. They removed the crisis commander. He's not a thing anymore. There's basically the enforcer, who now gives the unit armor of contempt, which is good.
Yeah.
And then there's the cold star, which you'll see 9 times out of 10, which gives 12-inch of move instead of 10, and assault to every weapon in the unit. You got to take that one because you need the movement.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, that's hard. You like the armor contempt guy sounds good because who doesn't want armor contempt? But like, are you choosing between the other one and you're like, I'm always taking the other one?
Both commanders are tough 5. Both commanders have 6 wounds. The enforcer has a 2-up save versus the cold star has a 3-up save.
Do they have invulnerable saves like before?
If you want to, you can give each one of them can take a shield generator and have a 4-up.
Oh, so that's one of the new things, right? They have less weapons now per guy.
So
like
you cannot stack the cyclic ion blaster. The stats didn't change on it, but you can't stack it like you used to. You can only take 1 per commander now.
And then like
the
on
suits
the actual
can't have them. The suits,
no
suit
have them at
variant
all.
can have them.
Ooh, it's back to like what's in the box, Charlie, and it's also like the crisis suits can't take 3 or 4 weapons like they used to, right? It's just like
each
2
crisis
guns?
unit. Now, depending on the crisis unit you pick, they only have 2 weapons and 2 pieces of war gear, basically. Basically. So that's a good time to talk about the 3 different crisis suits. So the 3 crisis suits are the Sunforge, the Fire Knife, and the Star Scythe. And these are names back from way back when.
So it's like great band names, all of them.
So the Sunforge, they have they're the only ones with a 4-up invul. Their rule is if you target a monster or vehicle, you reroll wounds and damage, and they have 2 meltas each.
So the Melta ones have invulnerable saves.
Correct.
They're the only ones. Okay, that's all. The name, I don't care.
They have a
The
4-up
save
invul,
ones, Melta ones,
and they can have 2 drones each. So they'll have a gun drone, they'll have 1 marker drone so that they can spot if they need to for another unit, and they'll have a shield drone each. So there'll be 5 wounds. Tough 5 wounds with a 3-up, 4-up. But you reroll wounds and damage against monsters and vehicles.
And once you buy the drones, are they just a piece of they're not actual models on the table?
Yeah, they're not models anymore. It's just
you never could get rid of it.
Correct.
Until the last suit's dead, they all have those abilities.
Correct.
Oh, that's interesting.
So the fire knife, I don't think the fire knife you're going to see that much. The fire knife can either have plasma rifles or missile pods. They reduced the range on the plasma rifle. It's now 18. And it's 8 minus 3/3 still, so it's still amazing. And then the missile pods are 2 shots at 30 of 7 minus 1/2.
Having them be 18 is a big deal for those guys.
Their ability
close,
is they reroll 1s to hit all the time. If you're shooting something that is at full health, you get full hit rerolls innately. It's not bad.
Nobody says no to free rolls.
How many shots to the plasma?
1 each, and they have 2 of them, so it's 6 shots out of that unit. Yeah, it's not amazing. It's not amazing.
How many points is a 3-stack?
130.
Inceptors.
So it's pretty cheap.
It's Inceptors, right? A 3-man Inceptors, 130.
It's basically a 3-man Inceptor. So the rumor going around right now, and this is before we really know what's what, is if it's a new unit, you use the book numbers. Otherwise, if it's an old unit, you use the numbers in the last data slate. So that's the word on the street. Take that as it is.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, the points notwithstanding, right? Who knows what the points are going to shake out.
The unit that's got me kind of jazzed up.
Yeah, you haven't even got to that yet?
Haven't even gotten to that yet.
It's not the Melta ones?
No, the unit that has me jazzed is... So there's the anti-tank, the Sunforge, the anti-elite, the Fire Knife, and then there's the anti-infantry, the Star Scythe.
Okay.
So the Star Scythe can either have 2 flamers each, or 2 burst cannons, or 1 and 1. So the burst cannons are 4 shots at 18 of 501. Or
nothing to write home about, but yeah.
Or D6 shots of ignore cover torrent 401. They're flamers.
Yeah. 401. D6 shots. Okay.
Their rule is they can shoot if they fall back.
Okay, big deal.
Very good.
Yeah. And each time you target something that's not a monster or vehicle, improve your AP by 1.
Okay. That's legit.
So now they're in the retribution
aggressors. Yeah.
So now they're all going to be AP 2 and strength 6.
You're close.
So
yeah, and extra
burst
strength.
Cannons. Let's talk burst cannons. I'm dying to talk about the burst cannons. 2 each. So there's 8 shots of 6 minus 2/1 with no CP input. Okay.
Oh, I see where this is going. I don't like it. Stop it. Oh, no. Marines don't want any part of this.
Oh, okay. So commander with them, the Cold Star, who's got a high outburst burst cannon. There's 8 shots by itself of 6 minus 2/1 that hits on 2s. And I've got a cyclic ion blaster that now is 9 minus 4/2.
How many shots is that thing?
Well, 3. But what if I'm shooting at something that's more than 6 models? Now I've got sustained on that unit too. 6 or more, I'm getting sustained.
Because that's the relic he has.
No, that's a stratagem.
That's a strat.
No, this is the guy with.
So all of the guys get the sustain.
There you go, on all their guns.
And then you're like, ignore cover because somebody spotted for me.
So now I've got a stealth unit who just across the table goes, "Hey, I see them," and you re-roll hit rolls of 1 and wound rolls of 1, or a tetra, and I get full hit re-rolls, and I'm fishing for those sustains, and I'm strength 6.
I mean, all right.
So and the commander.
How many shots we looking at? So the suits and then the commander.
So the commander is going to have 2 burst cannons and a high output burst cannon. He's going to have 16 by himself.
That guy.
And he's going to have 3 of the cyclic ion blasters.
This is why we hate him. This is exactly why.
The unit,
One guy running around being a jerk. He's like, I hose down a whole squad by myself.
the unit is going to have 24 shots by themselves. So that is 44 shots. No, 40 shots coming out of that unit of 6 - 2 1.
40 before the sustain.
Correct.
If you want it.
Correct. Of 6
Full
- 2
rerolls.
1, ignore cover.
It hits on 4s and then you BS it
It's
to
going to
3.
go to, there you go. And the commander hits on
you have
2s
this-
because he hits on 3's base.
Hey. Nobody got time for this.
God help you if you
Now,
got
if you
10
split fire, right? Is there any like penalties for splitting fire? Because that's the whole way
So
with
if
Tau. They have
you
to, like, shoot
are a
everything at one
guided
thing.
unit and you shoot at something that's not your guided target, not your observed unit, you do get -1 ballistic skill.
For both squads.
No,
wait.
just the thing that splits.
Oh, so just a splitter.
So the
Okay.
commander could
Well,
be like, "Yeah, I'll shoot that over there."
I'll just be back to hit on 3s like the rest
Correct.
of you jerks.
Correct.
Because he's not. He's BS3. Wouldn't he go back to BS4?
Yeah, he'd go to
-1.
4s. He would hit on
He'd
4s.
hit on 4s. But like he's still got a lot of shots. And with 4 rerolls, does he even care?
But if I'm a fire knife unit, I have full hit rerolls anyway because the commander could shoot at something that's at full health.
Oh, you can split as long as one of them.
So now you start stacking.
full strength?
The unit's ability is if a model in this unit shoots at something that's at full strength, I get full hit rerolls.
Oh my god!
So now
Yeah,
all 4 of them
wounded
can
everywhere,
drop down
like,
and
except
go
for this
shoot at that,
one random
that.
guy. Yeah.
all the rerolls. Ugh.
So it's creating these interesting little interactions of between the rerolls, the AP, the shooting at vehicles, and how you attach the commanders to your different units of crisis in between games.
How they buff them between.
Is going to change.
Let me ask you this question: if because I don't know Tal that well, if I spot for it, what's the interaction timing wise? Like, can I I have 3 units and I want to shoot 3 of them. Can I spot 3 things and then my 1 unit shoots at 3 things and they all get spotted bonuses?
So if I am if I am A and B, A spots for B, B would get the benefit, A would not. But A doesn't have a penalty if it shoots at the same target.
But I can't have like super crisis suit unit with a commander, and I got like a bunch of little Pathfinder guys running around saying, "Mark something for me," and he's like, "That tank, this unit of infantry,
So
and this tank
Pathfinder
too,
are a bad
all
example
marked."
because Pathfinders can spot for 2 different units.
Oh, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pathfinders are a bad example. So they technically
But we're not spotting for 2 units particularly. They're spotting for just the one crisis.
So there
suit.
is
Can they
a
spot 2 targets.
There is a stratagem in the Kion detachment, which is the turn 3, 4, and 5 one,
Mhm.
that lets the spotter get the same benefit as though he was spotted for if he shoots the same target for a CP.
But there's no world, at least the way I'm hearing
No,
you
there's
say
no
it.
world where you have A, B, and C all targeting D, and A for B, B for C, C for A, and it's like this little triangle of. No, you can't do that.
No, and I'm not even saying that. I'm like,
Now,
when you say A, B, and
A
C,
can
it
spot
gets me
for B,
confused.
and then
Don't use the letters.
so
All right, 1 can spot for 2.
So-
If I have let me
Okay.
put it in Marine terms, right?
I got you.
So like,
I got you. Here's in terms. I
Okay.
could have a breacher unit that spots for crisis unit, and then the
okay,
crisis unit would get the benefit. But the
Got it.
crisis unit could never be a spotter because it was already guided.
okay.
So they work in pairs, not in trios.
But if I have a Land Raider and a unit of Blade Guard and a Dreadnought, my Marines, it's all standing around, and the melted guys come in.
Mhm.
Can I, with as many Tau units I have on my other side, shoot? I can mark all these different ones.
Mhm.
Hey, Unit 1, mark the Land Raiders. Unit 2, mark the Dreadnought. Unit 3, mark the Blade Guard. And now Crisis Suit comes in, and I split fire. Do they get buffs on all 3 of those things because they got marked by all different ones?
No, so you mark for another Tau unit. You don't necessarily. You do mark an enemy unit, but the issue is the observer spots a unit that becomes the spotted unit, and the guided unit of the Tau becomes guided.
You're thinking the old school Tau where you used to just drop marker lights on people and do stuff.
Yeah. So like you just tap the Tau guy on the shoulder and say, "You do better," and then he's already doing better. But then if he splits, he's not
You
doing
get plus
better
1
anymore.
ballistic skill if you are a guided unit, and the only way you get
Yeah.
guided is if there is an observer that has a spotted unit. You both have to have line of sight to the same target.
Yeah, I think I got it. I think I need to like go through it in progression on the table and really kind of see it once or twice to kind of fully understand how to exploit it in the defensive way, or at least stop them from doing good stuff. Stupid tough.
The crisis units being split up made them more interesting, in my opinion. Way more interesting.
Yeah, the big bricks of suits. I mean, I know why you did it, and you had to. Like you're spending all these points on expensive suits to do buffs. Now you can make them a little bit cheaper, and they're different units. And yeah, it's neat, and it gives you more flexibility, I think, from the Tau perspective.
So the grenade guy,
those lists became very static. But
so you're going to have, in my opinion, my humble opinion, I'm Peggy Hill over here. You got to have Farsight because that +1 to wound and a free strat is amazing. Oh, yeah. Plus, he's strength 10, so you can actually tank shock something, which he's a vehicle, so that'd be amazing.
Yeah, fair.
You got to have the grenade guy because move grenade, like that's so powerful an ability.
Why would you not take that? In what world where you don't take that?
And then you got to have the guy that bounces a unit every turn because, especially in the Retribution cadre, because that move for 1 CP, I could deep strike outside of the range of, I don't know, in infiltrators. Come down, shoot you, move on to an objective. Like, that's so good.
Yeah, no, pretty good.
Do you have a guy that gives you extra CP? Sounds like they want to use CP a lot.
The only way they can get CP is they can have an ethereal attached to basically a foot troop unit. And the ethereals generate on a 4+ in your command phase. But if you have Farsight
or whatever, chapter master.
Yeah, if you have Farsight, you can't have ethereals, period, in your list.
Oh, because he's the rebel, right?
He's the anti-ethereal guy.
He's like down with the establishment. I'm on my own thing. Yeah.
If you have Commander Shadow Sun, who is, I think she's interesting, and not for the reasons you think. Shadow Sun is 100 points, basically 110, hovering around there. She has a reroll once to hit aura of 6 for all Tau. And if you use a stratagem on a Tau Empire unit within 6, on a 5-up, you get a CP back. Now, why she's interesting. She's a mini Ghost Keel. Don't think of her as anything else. She's Infiltrator, Lone Op, Stealth. She is -1 to be wounded, period, with range attacks.
What's her toughness?
4.
Okay.
She moves 10. She has a 3-up, 5-up, 6 wounds. Not important. Not that amazing. She does hit on 2s in shooting. And she has 2 Meltas that are strength 10 -4d6 at 18 inch.
Okay.
Melta 2.
You told me about her stats. Strength 10 Meltas. Hello, Marines.
I think you mean strength 11 Meltas.
Because you're +1 strength. You're like your Firestorm in Tau. Like,
so she has 2 of those.
Strike 11. That's such a big profile switch because like now she's shooting at tanks, AP4. She just one tap them herself without anybody helping her out. Lone op in it, being a little punk.
Hits on 2s, rerolls 1s by herself. Just fine.
She's gonna be in scepter bait for sure, man. Nobody got time to let her run around.
Well, she's also stealth, so I mean you do have to work for it.
I don't like it.
She has a couple of shots of 702 or 8 -1/2, which are pretty amazing. And then a couple, like a weird, 5 shots of 4 -1/1.
Yeah, I feel like just for the CP chance and then her just being lone up, that's such a good tech choice that why wouldn't you take her? There's no restriction on her with Farsight, right?
No. So she's 110
Can
points.
she join units? Nope. She can never join units.
She is a lone up.
She's very annoying.
She is going to be on the table and just aggravating you the whole game. Like, would you just stop and go away? She's going to go, no, I'm going to move 10. I'm going to shoot you in Melta range. Then I'm going to move away for a CP.
Eldar.
So if you think about it in that terms, pretty interesting.
There's a lot of things that you call interesting, which I call like a pain in the ass. This is just going to be hellish.
So Ghost Keels are, for better or for worse, they're the exact same as they were.
They're the same thing. Yeah.
Tough 8 with a 2-up save with 12 wounds. OC3 with Infiltrator, Lone Op, Stealth.
They blank damage
they blank still? 2 to a game each. Now, in the Retribution cadre, they get super interesting because their Meltas, their Fusion Colliders, go from 12 -4d6 to 13 -5d6.
The land raiders don't like that.
No.
No, they don't.
Nah.
Hey, you get a save? No, you don't.
AP5. Armor contempted for 6s. Like that seems like a great choice. Do you do that?
The other main gun they have, the cyclic
Man.
ion rapier,
Where did y'all-
it would go to 9 minus 3/3 with 6 shots.
What's the range on that gun?
36.
Oh man. Are they still lone ops?
Oh yeah.
They're just dropping 3 damage kill Gravis guys from lone op 36?
From all the way downtown.
Oh my god. This is not going better.
They're
You can't drop Inceptors to kill those guys. That's just not. You don't got enough beef in there to
Mhm.
kill that through the
Yeah.
like 2 damage.
shockingly, you don't have enough beef to kill them. Most things don't.
This sucks.
Kroot carnivores, of note, Kroot carnivores have sticky. They have stealth and they scout 7. Other than that, they're
The carnivores are the dogs?
no,
or
that's the peoples, the little peoples.
just the regular recruits.
They're tough 3 with a 6
Some
up
new
save.
models are cool. Yeah, the new recruit stuff looks cool.
You breathe at them and they die. They're tough 3 with a 6
Yeah.
up save. That's not what they're for. They're for I'm paying points to get sticky and to hold my back objective.
or the screen or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Are they cheap? The recruits?
Yeah, they're stupid cheap.
Hmm.
Broadsides, largely the same. Nothing much changed on them. They're still tough 6 with 8 wounds. So they'll have 9 wounds. Or actually, they'll have 8 and 2 missile drones each.
Broadsides are pretty good, man. Like
The real
the
cannons
shooting
stay
on
the
them
same.
was a pain.
They are a battle suit. So they don't fly. So you can do some interesting stuff with battle suits. The Riptide, however, that's going to be a problem.
None of these other things are being a problem. What?
So Riptides are...
you gotta shoot them first. It's fine.
He's just laying me down here. Like he's just like, oh, like it's over. It's finally over. The pain is over. No, there's more. There's more. It gets worse.
For what it's worth, the Storm Surge is still terrible. So, yeah.
But they took the restriction off. I just found this out. I just learned something new.
So,
they took the restriction off of the modifiers. They ignores modifiers, right?
but if you split fire,
To hit.
you're getting
'cause it's ballistic skill.
Yeah, so you still can't do it.
It's sort of, but not really.
Yeah. And
it's really back to
in
no,
order
it's
to
not
be
good.
guided to have the benefit, you have to have line of sight. So out of line of sight shooting is still like so.
That's unfortunate.
Mm,
It's such a cool model.
That's
like one of my
right.
favorite models.
Now,
in the
you
game.
can
Storm Surge
outflank
should
it.
be cool.
And that thing can come out of nowhere, and you go, "Wait a minute, what?" And it's putting them 12 damage shots on you, laying them to you. But
It has 12 damage guns.
yeah, its main cannon, the pulse driver cannon. It has 2 profiles. One of them is 24 minus 6, 12.
Straight 24.
24, baby. Well, 25 actually.
Minus 6, because like, what does stats matter for? You know, like you don't have
Technically,
enough.
you could be minus 7. I got you. What are you, a Terminator?
I'll
Get
be
out of here. I don't
on
care.
twos. When you're on twos, minus 6. Get wrecked.
Riptides, I think, are going to be the interesting problem to solve in this army. Because the crisis suits, they're tough 5. Just shoot them and kill them. I mean, just
So what I was taking from everything we've said so far is it's all like tough 6 and below.
Yeah.
Which is like Marines okay with that.
You can eradicate. They're all vehicles. Eradicators are going to be like, man, I got you. Get out of here.
Better hope they got them.
I'm splitting
They get
fire.
one try at it. That's what I heard.
Ghost
You'll be
Keels will be
raining
the
death on
exception to that because Ghost Keels will be a pain in the butt.
Hmm.
I mean, if you've played against them, you know it's just like you got to put way more into them than you want to.
I may be jumping the shark here, but like, what are we looking at in terms of a 2,000 point armor?
Hold on,
Like, how
hold
many
on.
of these units are we placing?
Hold up.
Golly.
So the Riptides are going to be the interesting problem to solve. And I mean interesting in that you have a solution for the crisis suits. You have a solution for the lone op guys. Just run at them and they got to go away. You know what I mean? Like they can't take it. Riptides can kind of take it. So they move 10. They're tough 9. They have a 2 up, 4 up. They have 14 wounds. And they're OC 4. They can fall back and shoot. They can ignore all hit roll modifiers. And once per game, they can pick a ranged weapon, and it gets dev wounds.
Once per game. So do you take the burst cannon on that?
So the burst cannon is 36, 12 shots of 6 minus 1, 2.
Is it twin leap?
No. But you can reroll once to wound with a stealth unit. The ion gun, it has the big ion gun. It is 8 minus 3, 4. Or 9 minus 4, 4.
How many shots?
6.
Ish.
I mean, that one's probably the better gun to take, I would think, over the burst.
So if you're shooting now, every turn, this is like it's turn 3, whatever. I have 2 Riptides over here. Okay, well I'm gonna shoot both of them at that unit of crisis or that unit of aggressors or eradicators. There's 6 in the unit. I'm gonna get sustained 1. These are gonna be 9 minus 4 ignore cover.
And I could turn it to dev wounds if I want to.
Why?
Once per game.
I'm 9 minus
Not
4 ignore cover. Like
not against those.
yeah, but like anything in the game, like custodes go. Oh, wait a minute, now I don't want that. Like nobody, and they're 72-inch range on those cannons.
Just punishing people.
I'm gonna stand in the way back and go, are those bikes at 4 wounds each? Cool. Anyway, pick them up.
Or you're a 3-wound model that has -1 damage. Okay,
don't care.
I don't care.
I feel like your like snake belly underbelly list doesn't care about Riptides at all.
You can dev wound them, but they can 6-up feel no pain them, so they'll probably not kill them all the way.
I mean, yeah, not one squad, but like, yeah, I
but
guess.
Are Riptides what you're worried about as the snake player? Like, I'm not worried about the Riptides yet. I'll get to them.
You worry about everything, but yeah, I guess.
So the issue is they're 165 points. And there's going to be 3 of them. So they have that main gun. Cheap. They're probably going to have a twin-linked plasma rifle, so it just rerolls wounds. They're also going to have 2 missile drones, so it's 4 shots of 8 minus 2/2.
It's a lot of guns for 165.
That's a lot of shots. Yeah.
I mean, they hang out in the backfield just kind of to keep you honest, right?
Like, they're hanging back in that midfield and back. There's 3 of them. They're OC4. They're just like, oh, by the way, they're a battle suit, so they can move, shoot, move too.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that being a problem.
Can you give them enhancements? They're not characters.
They're not characters. Right? You cannot enhance them.
Okay.
I can guide
so
for them.
Me Fire Strike Servo Turret is the answer.
However,
what I'm hearing is,
but remember,
servo turrets.
What we talked about, it feels like 12 hours ago. They blow up D6.
That's good. Yeah, you can't risk them being standing around next to their buddies. Like they could pop off.
So it's like, oh, I'm at 1 wound. I'm going to move. I'm going to shoot. I'm going to move again. Now I'm in amongst everything.
You're just setting them up to auto explode on me. Get out of here. I'm blowing you up over there.
But they're going to be, I think, the problem that you're going to run into because you're going to take damage from the crisis suit. You can't prevent it. You're going to take some shots from the broadside or the ghost keels because they're going to be just this pain in the butt that you have to you're scrimmaging with them in the middle.
Yeah. By the time you're futzing around with all those guys and you've lost most of your army and half your army, and then now the Riptides are we're still around being jerks, and then if you've devoted fire to us,
it's like game. I still have 3 Riptides. Oh man, what am I going to do now?
This sounds very problematic. I don't know.
So
I have to see it on the table how bad it is.
What does a list look like, you ask?
Yes.
So using those points, the list I've come up with is
So 3 auto take Riptides. Those are auto takes.
Gotta take them. So the list I have that I'm this is where I'm going to start is 2 Cold Star Commanders, 1 with the Starfire, the jump up every turn, and 1 with the grenade rack. Because get out of here.
Mortal wounds are nice.
Farsight to go +1 to wound and a free strat. Shadow Sun to be a 3rd ghost keel.
And be annoying.
2 ghost keels.
Annoying. Makes sense.
3 Riptides. A 3-man stealth unit and a 6th-man stealth unit. Stealth battle suits.
Why do you want 6?
Aha! They're battle suits. I can have 2 Meltas in there, and then the rest have burst cannons. They can each have...
Okay.
So there's a marker drone, so they have marker lights. And then there's 6 guys. So I can move, shoot, move 6 guys. I give them all sustained. I can spot for all of them. All their strats work on all of them. You have to respect that 6-man shooting at you because they have the same guns that everybody else does.
That's fair.
There's no restriction on I spot for somebody and now I still could shoot,
Correct.
Right? It's not like they turned off my other abilities
Correct.
or whatever.
Then 2 ghost keels.
Do you have any chumps? No breachers or any of that stuff?
And a 10-man carnivore. And then a star scythe, the burst cannon ones, the anti-infantry, and 2 melta units.
So 3 crisis teams.
3 crisis teams.
On top of all the other crap that you just threw at
2
me.
of the anti-vehicle ones. 1 of them, the anti-infantry with the burst cannons.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense.
And then you mix and match your characters as you need.
So you really could decide that the characters go in different ones. It's not like this is the dedicated one.
I'm attaching them however I choose. Oh, you got Land Raiders? All right. Well, I'm going to shoot a bunch of Strength 10 Meltas at you with +1 to wound. So let's go.
All right.
Or
Sounds
Because
like
like the
I'm taking.
Riptide guns doesn't matter. All the guns are pretty bad into the Land Raider. Like the Land Raider is like the tough thing that it's not really wanted to play against Tau.
So are the stealth suits also vehicle?
yeah, no, they're infantry, but they have battlesuit keyword. So all the strats and all the abilities work on them.
So they're infantry, so they can go through walls and stuff. So they're
Correctamundo.
bouncing. I missed that part when you said they're battlesuits. I just like said that vehicles.
They're fly battlesuit infantry.
Okay, I see why you like them. I see it now.
They also have infiltrate and stealth.
Okay, so what? I mean, I know you haven't played it, and we're like just thinking through this, but like, what does it not want to see in the Tau player? Like, what do Marines have that
what do Marines have?
Really take it to the
infiltrators
take it to the bank on those guys?
Obviously, infiltrators.
Let's keep tracking within 3 with the infos, right? If you have the loan up guy, obviously 12-inch on the Phobos librarian. I hate taking that guy. He's so good, but
they don't want to see eradicators.
So expensive.
Or Hellblasters.
Is there Overwatch any good?
So
do they get the rerolls on their whatever?
Potentially, yes. Their Overwatch can be amazing because the anti-infantry unit could be flamers, and then they become 5 -2/1 flamers that ignore cover innately.
It's just 12 inches though, right?
Yeah.
So like you can kind of mitigate Overwatch for that.
They don't have any amazing Overwatch per se.
Do they have any like? No. Well, we know that this one doesn't have the exploding mortals when you charge them, right? That's the other detachment.
No, that's this detachment.
Oh, that's this one. So charging him is like problematic, right? Because you declare the charge before you even roll.
Correct.
You take some mortals potentially,
and then you Overwatch them.
The Retribution Cadre is the tricky list. It's the one you want to play if you want to like try it on hard mode because you don't have the horsepower to. Oh, I dump out all the breachers and I just roll $1 million dice and I just blow you up. Something to be said.
That's not this one.
I mean,
that's not this one.
And
but people sounds hyper violent. So this is like you would relate this to kind of like Firestorm, right? You get the +1s when you're close and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think one of the problems too is people are going to look at this and go, "I want to take Bring It Down," and you're going to go, "Cool. What else are you taking? Like deploy, sure, but like if you're going to stand in the middle, then like I'm going to line up a bunch of shots, all these dudes on the middle, and just be like, we're just going to feed me stuff every turn." It
becomes a little easier for 2 turns. Then it starts getting real hard because you have to sacrifice a unit.
But I mean, if you're taking Bring It Down, right? There's 3 commanders. There's
I give up 85 Bring It Down points. Absolutely.
You got 4 characters that are like assassinate bait, right? Like,
sure.
If you're playing the I'm killing you vehicles game, you're playing the I'm killing vehicles game. You're like, I'm going to kill 3 of the units that have the characters in them, right? Because they're the ones that are suits units that I can't like kill me.
Yeah, you're never getting Shadow.
You would just take assassinate, I think, in that scenario.
You would?
No, I don't think so.
I would.
Absolutely.
I would all day. I can't let them kill me. I'll be dead. I'll lose anyways if they're not dead.
Nah, Shadow Sun, you'll never kill Shadow Sun. You'll get 12 points.
She's going to take it in the face for the first infiltrators or interceptors I got.
This is the same argument that I had with all of my opponents with the previous list.
I don't care.
And it was always, I'm going to take tactical, and my ghost keels are just doing their thing, getting points, getting secondaries, getting points, getting secondaries. And it plays primary better than you think it does.
I played those damn ghost kills, and a lot of this Tau list, we didn't see tons of ghost kills, right? And it was I don't know why those things are they're so good, super pains, man. Like they don't die like they're supposed to, and you're like the blank damage messes up all the math. And you're
if I'm playing against Tau, and I see the Mont Ka detachment, the first few turn ones, I'm going to be very careful about what I kill with what. Mm-hmm. If I'm playing against the Kion detachment, I'm pulling my pants up and I'm sprinting at you. Because that's all I can do. I'm putting everything on the table and I'm going forward fast.
Can't let them get to turn 3 where they buff up. Now in that detachment, like the old index one, right? That's the index one.
Yeah.
They still have a relic that lets them one of the units count as a turn early.
Correct. Before. Yeah, they get this unit will get the benefit on turn 2 forward. It's not that as amazing as it used to be, because it used to be you could put that on the big crisis blob.
Oh, because they have so many shots right now. You can't mix the weapons the same. They don't have the same volume.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. That melty unit's going to come in and have sustain 2, and nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. Nope. But it's okay.
I mean, you do always start on your back foot. with.
Do
giving
they
off
have
secondary.
fallback and shoot and charge? Right. Which ones have that? Right.
So innately, almost every battlesuit unit does. Also, their vehicles,
they
they can just
do?
shoot in combat. The Ghost Keels can fall back, shoot, and charge. The Riptides can fall back and shoot. Broadsides can fall back and shoot, or they can shoot in combat without penalty. Depends on what war gear they take.
So is there any value in tagging them? Like
Not
in terms
really.
of like, I guess you stop them from moving. Maybe you make them minus to hit because they're like
There's not a ton of
in
benefit.
combat.
Unless you're killing them in combat, there's no real benefit to tagging them. Because you can still spot and be observed for in combat. So I'm in combat with that guy. He goes, yeah, you're beating me up, but I'm looking at that guy over there, and I'm fine. The anti-infantry unit of suits can fall back and shoot. Nobody else can fall back and shoot, but the anti-elite unit can fire without penalty. So they just shoot in combat, their vehicles. And none of their stuff is
without
blast.
penalties.
Yeah.
I'm like, let's Tau. Maybe I can make their ballistic skill crappy enough that they won't hit me with all these million nasty bullets.
Now,
but
any
it doesn't sound
commander
like that's easy.
can take a piece of war gear that lets them fall back and shoot. Or they can take a piece of war gear that says you ignore penalties, or they can take a 4-up invuln, or they can take a combination of any of them. Basically, imagine it, they have 4 hard points, and you can put war gear and weapons in any of those hard points.
Can they take 4 weapons and no?
Yeah, absolutely.
War gear?
Absolutely.
The commanders. Only the commanders can.
The commanders get 4 guns.
Yeah. That'd be interesting to see what people go.
So,
all those things sound good.
Like I said, is a deep codex, and it rewards creative thought and play.
I mean, we gotta get it on the table now. See what it does.
Shoot, man! If you didn't know about Tau now, or you weren't worried about it, like I mean, it sounds to me like you should be. At least me, from a Marine guy, I'm like, this is gonna keep me up at night trying to figure out this.
So Hellblasters are amazing against them. The suits. Yeah.
Because you can't bounce
Unless
away
it's
before I kill you.
Unless it's the only ones that would have a
take
save.
Hellblasters, Nick.
I'll take them. Give me yours. I'll take them. I'm trying to find an excuse to put 20 on my list.
Oh my gosh.
The only unit that would have a 4-up save would be the anti-vehicle unit, but all the other ones, I mean, they could have armor contempt and be in cover, so they'd be -2. So that'd be something, but they have a 3-up base save. So
I like that.
It's not.
My
Their saves
Hellblasters
are
love that.
Their saves are really not amazing.
Hellblasters would love that.
They have to rely on their movement and their offense. Really, is their survivability. Their hammers are pretty fragile, but the other stuff in that army is not fragile at all. The Ghost Keels and the Riptides. So anyway,
now I want to play it.
Yeah.
Now I want to put my guys down.
Now you know what I've been thinking about, because I think it's interesting, and I think there's something there.
That interesting word. I don't think that word means the same thing.
You use this word. It does not mean what you think it means.
Every time Max starts a sentence with, "All right, check it out."
Sounds interesting. I'm like, oh.
But it's a deceptive kind of depth to it. This codex doesn't. When you first read it, you're like, okay, whatever. You gotta let it.
I mean, I could see how it sounds super scary to me, because I just imagine you behind the wheel playing it. But I could also see where like you can screw it up one time and then like you lose half your suits.
Absolutely. You're slightly out of position. You didn't think I was going to outflank here, and look at that! I walk in from strategic and nuke 2 units. Like,
yeah.
Okay, so it gives me some hope there, right? It's not going to be all bad.
Like Hellblasters walking in off the side. I could just be out of position and go,
I can't believe we're playing Hellblasters is the answer.
Just strutting in, saying it with the chest.
Hellblasters tells them the whole thing. What's the problem? No, Fire Strike.
I mean, Eradicators for that matter. That big unit of Eradicators. I don't want any part of that.
Yeah, that's bad. That's
even
bad.
In Overwatch, like you get to reroll all hits and all wounds.
Yeah, I haven't invested in that tech. That's just like so many eggs in that basket. That seems like you better hope you have the right match for those guys. Like to do things, otherwise it's like.
So no, do I think Tau will be the dominant force in the meta? No, by no means am I saying that they're this broke Codex of Doom.
Oh yeah, no, these aren't the next like Necron.
I see like there's going to be a lot of like bad matches for that, but I also see like for me personally, my Marine, Thomas Bird Marine, because like I always have that lens of Marines first and then Thomas Marines second. It sounds like a pain in the ass. I don't want part of that to deal with
It's going to
that.
be a good teams list, a good teams army.
It will be. It's interesting who's going to pick up that mantle because, like, I know we got Mac playing multi factions here. He's like he's been playing so many games. He's kind of like our go-to guy for a lot of different factions that no one else is playing. So
I like the Tau list. I like the suit Tau list because it's so weird and it's going to play so differently. I think it is a great anvil list, a guardian, whatever you want to call it, or a rock
defender.
yeah.
Because I'm going to play tactical and I'm going to out tactical you, and I'm going to do pretty good on primary and I'm going to do pretty good on secondary. You're not going to blow me out. Like if that list is playing defensive 40k of I'm just scoring what I can score. I'm not trying to kill you. I'm just trying to get what I can get and take opportunities as they come to me. That'll be a pain in the butt to deal with.
It will be.
That's what I'm saying. I think Bring It Down might be a trap if you play it properly.
If you play like that, it would be like you better have a very mobile, aggressive list on the Marine side or the opposing side, because if they like turtle up or dance around, you're like, this is going to be.
Or you're picking guys up every turn. You're
gonna
like,
be like, I'm not scoring any points because I can't track you down.
Yeah. I like it.
So
now I want to beat it.
That's where I'm at.
Hellblasters.
Hellblasters, man. I'm telling you. It didn't get worse.
Anything that Nick gets to use his Hellblasters on, he's all for it.
So,
hey, man, like I said, I'm trying to find points to put another.
I'm like, what are you doing? Does this have more Hellblasters? He's like, yeah, they're great. I'm like, what? No, go the wrong way. It's Fire Strikes all the way. Come on now.
So in the eternal battle between Firestrike and Hellblasters, guys, we appreciate you listening to episode 7 here at the Meta Marine. We will have an update on the eternal struggle between Hellblasters and Firestrikes in episode 8.
Yes, we will.
So thank you guys for listening. We appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
We'll see you next time.